Self-improvement is no longer optional. It is a necessity. And the biggest thing that's going to help you get there is going to be the rooms that you visit. If it's not growing, if what you're visioning isn't growing, then the environment probably hasn't changed either. Your income could be one of the things that is not changing. Your confidence could be another thing that's not really changing. The clarity that you have could be another thing that's not really changing. And so if you want those things to grow, to get better, then you need to change the environment. You need to change the rooms that you're in, and you need to start working on that self-improvement. My name is Nick Brown, and I am... Okay. I don't have such a hard time with that. My name is Nick Brown, and I am a wealth builder. And what my hope is, what my desires, what my purpose in life is to help people to build wealth, but not only just the financial aspect, to build a holistic wealth. I want you to have time wealth. I want you to have freedom of money. I want you to have happiness and joy in your life. I want you to have the relationships, wealthy relationships. I want you to be wealthy in your physical form. I want you to be wealthy in your spiritual form. That is what a wealth builder is. And so today I'm going to be talking about how self-improvement is the essential. It is the first block. It is the foundation of how to build your wealth. See, I've been an executive chef for several years. I've been in the cooking facility as a cook for 25 years almost. And in that aspect, I have learned so much about how things work, about what does work and what doesn't. And I can tell you, when I first became an executive chef, okay, that very first time, the same amount of money that I was making before was the same amount of money that I was making when I became the executive chef. And it just ended up being more work, And do you know why that happened? Because of my own self-worth. Okay, that self-image that I had as that sous chef was the same image that I had as an executive chef. The friends that I had as a sous chef were the exact same friends that I had as the executive chef. It just felt like I was on a treadmill and I wanted to hit to the next level, and so I bumped up the speed of that treadmill and was just running faster, but I wasn't actually getting anywhere. I was still in the exact same spot. And what I realized that the real problem is that I've held this idea in my head that they had to teach me. They had to show me how to move forward. They had to show me all this kind of stuff. I wasn't really growing per se because I was stuck in those same rooms. That growth, okay, was not really there because it was in the same rooms. Same growth, same rooms, right? The effort that I had was greater than the structure that I had created for myself. Okay? That was the real problem. They didn't need to teach me. I needed to build better structures. I needed to get into different rooms. I needed to have bigger friendships, bigger mentors. Once I realized that, I reframed it. I took it and I was like, okay, this isn't working for me. I'm not really growing. I'm putting a lot of effort in and nothing's really happening. So what do I need to do? I need to start growing. And that was my first iteration when it comes to personal development. I had to reframe what I was thinking. Okay? I had to reframe from them teaching me to me teaching me. And what did that mean? That meant books. I started reading books. What is also? I started getting into different rooms. I started expanding my friendships beyond just the regular chefs. I started to build new habits. I started to really grow in the relationships that I had, in the conversations that I had, and especially in the questions that I was asking myself. Instead of asking those questions of like, why me? Or why can't they teach me? Or, I could do this, but I just don't know how. It became now like, who can I visit? Who can I get to know? Who is somebody that has achieved what I want to achieve? And how do I get to them? And that's what led me to Wealth Builders. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is one of the best rooms that I've ever been in. I'm going to tell you right now, being within Wealth Builders, the associations that I have here, the friends that I've gained here, the rooms that I am getting into now. Before, I was meeting with, people who made six figures. Barely. Now, I'm visiting with people who are millionaires, billionaires. Okay? Getting into the right rooms, that's where things go. Now, am I there yet? Not yet. But I will. And I can guarantee you that. Do you know why? Because I'm asking the right questions. Because I'm now in the right areas. Because those higher rooms, okay? You increase the rooms that you're in. What else do you increase? You increase the friends. The friends that you have. When you increase the friends that you have, you increase the thoughts that you have. When you increase the thoughts that you have, you also increase the standards. When you increase those standards, guess what? You increase the results. You see, back then, my friends, they were just trying to survive. They were just trying to make it through the next rush, the next service, the next day, the next paycheck, the next month. Constantly struggling, just living paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. Why? They weren't growing because their environment hadn't changed. It wasn't growing. I always thought that if I went to a new restaurant, to a new place, that I would, get things. And yeah, I would increase a little bit. But the problem was it was all still the same people. I wasn't increasing the associations that I had. I wasn't getting into different rooms. I was just getting into different, kitchens. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't really a new room. It was just a different room. It wasn't a higher room. It was just a sideways shift and a sideways shift and a sideways shift. Okay? And so what I want you to start thinking about, I want to ask you these questions. And I want you to really think about them. Where am I relying solely on effort to increase and to grow in my life? I want you to think about that. Where are you relying just on effort instead of getting into the rooms, instead of figuring out new friends, instead of having new thoughts, new standards, on just working harder? Where are you relying just on effort? Now, the other question is, what standards am I tolerating? Because as you're increasing these friends, they've got higher standards. And so the typical, I'm trying my best, doesn't cut it anymore. It's like, well, you can do better. And so those kinds of things were the things that were really started to bring me up. So what standard are you tolerating right now? And is that standard getting you to where you want to be? And finally, think about where you're at. What room no longer stretches me? If this resonates, you're not alone. This is the work that I do, not just through this content, but by intentionally placing myself in rooms that challenge me, that sharpen me, and that expand me. And if that's what I would, and that's what I'll be doing for here on out, especially in these coming weeks. If you want to explore that path, whether through ideas, conversations, or even getting into those rooms through live experiences, there's a link below. Go ahead and click on it, but no pressure. I just want to clarify. If you are still at the same place you were last year, 2 years, 5 years ago, and you don't change, and everything stays the same, do you really think that you're going to get to where you want to go?